really need a fan. Flying Lotus and George Clinton are burning down their house. Not something we approve of, obviously. But that was they. Anna in Coventry's been up since 6, making a cake for Auntie Susie's 70th birthday. And James in Beverley is enjoying the show and says, I am very much looking forward to hearing Neil. Look forward no longer. He's here. Hello, Neil Hannon.
This is my voice.
Is everything okay?
Yeah, everything's fine.
David in Whitstable's been on. He says, looking forward to hearing Neil. Here's a thing that will make him feel old. That was a good way to start. Says, I met my wife, the lovely Fiona, through our shared love of divine comedy and going to many of Neil's gigs together. That was a few years ago. It is our son Wilf's 21st birthday next Friday. So,
20 what?
Right. He also says, David, Neil would have been a good person to have him when you were talking about Mr. Ben the other week. The opening track on Liberation is Festive Road.
That's right.
Were you a Mr. Ben fan?
Oh, I wanted to be Mr. Ben when I was little. I absolutely adored it. Yeah.
Short Time About Love, by the way, James Beverley says, is the best album ever made.
This is not true, but thanks.
So we're going to be talking about Neil's new album, Office Politics. There's quite a lot of it, isn't there?
Intriguing record.
It's a sort of big, sort of epic work, really.
It's a double album.
Yeah.
I wanted to make one, so I did.
You thought it was time. Have you ever made a double album before?
No.
Is it a double album?
Double
is it on vinyl?
Yeah, sorry. You've got the CD. It makes no difference to a CD
So it's your
whatsoever.
Tales from Topographic Oceans, this, yeah?
Ooh.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk a lot more about what's on there and placed from it. But did you ever have a nickname, by the way, Neil? It's
This is one of my, terrible sadnesses that I never really received a nickname.
No.
I think for a while the band called me Mr. Burns. Behind my back. But I knew.
You're keen on Wise Blood, aren't you?
Yeah, or do you call them Wise Blood or Ways Blood?
Well, I keep...
W-E-Y-E-S.
It looks like Ways, but I think we've been told it's Wise Blood.
There is a Wise Blood, though.
Oh,
like
right.
a W-I-S-E.
Well, I think it's Wise Blood, but you could be right. Hey, let's not let it come between us.
Semantics is unnecessary.
But you're keen. We're keen on her music too. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I only came across it recently, and I thought this track, Movies, yes?
Movies we're going to play,
is astounding. I love it. And I think her voice is so reminiscent of, like, Oh, that's good, isn't it?
No, it's okay. It's still quite early.
Reminiscent.
It's still quite early in the morning.
Things.
Yeah.
Yes,
no,
that
that's
I
fine.
have heard.
It's quite a long track, so we could probably decide during it what we think of. This is, take your pick, Wise or Ways Blood and Movies. If I was still in the record reviewing game, I think I'd be digging out soaring, epic, things like that for this, yeah.
Yeah. You should get back into that.
Do you think I should?
Yeah.
Okay.
It came to you as it started, this singer you were thinking about, who she reminded you of, didn't it?
Yes. Thank you for reminding me. Grace Slick from Jefferson Airplane.
And it is emphatically Wise Blood, we are told.
Yes,
Wise
Matt.
Blood.
Hello to Matt Maxey, who tells us it's Wise Blood, yeah. You mentioned about the vocal sound. Like Stevie thought it sounded like Twin Peaks era Julie Cruz.
A little bit.
Little bit of that going on too.
Yeah.
So, the voice you can hear is Neil Hannon of the Divine Comedy.
Not this one.
Not
that's
that one.
me.
That's Mark Radcliffe. That one is Neil Hannon of the Divine Comedy, who will be talking more and we'll be hearing more from the new Divine Comedy record, Office Politics, hearing from it, chatting about it, very soon.
Six Music.
This is BBC Radio 6 Music.
Well, that great collective wow going up across Britain. Do you think that's new music's debut on Six Music? I think it might well be.
Do you think Living by Numbers? I bet Living by Numbers has been on the chain, hasn't it? But it's a choice from Neil Hannon. You love that, don't you?
Yeah, I absolutely adore it. As I was saying, I'm completely lacking in curiosity, so I know nothing else about them, but that is one of my favourite
Well,
songs.
the main guy, Tony Mansfield, who's sort of a bit of a hit maker and producer, who went on to produce Hunting High and Low by A-ha, amongst other things.
A-ha. Some people think of him as a sort of great lost pop talent,
like a
pop
Trevor
architect.
Horn sort of.
Well, you can hear a bit of the Trevor Horn in that, can't you?
Of the Buggles, yeah. We'll play it for Catherine, who said, love the new Divine Comedy album, saw them in Kingston Wednesday. My husband Richie and I walked down the aisle to the Perfect Love song.
Oh.
So there you go.
Glad to be of service.
Helen Radcliffe put this quite bluntly. Thank you for having one of my musical heroes on your show. Neil Hannon, you are a genius.
Shut up.
I know. Sorry, that's awkward. Shut up. Shut up.
This album's a bit patchy, isn't it, Neil?
Yeah,
I just want to bring you back down a bit. Really.
Yeah, quite right.
It's called Office Politics, and it is sort of a concept double album, loosely, I guess.
They all are.
Right.
Not doubles, but this is my first double album. But I couldn't, let my career dribble off, without having done a double album. And
But it is about various aspects and manifestations of the work experience, then.
Ironically, yes. It's sort of grounded in sort of everyday working scenarios, but with lots of dark intrusions along the way.
Yeah.
I didn't set out to make an album about people's working lives.
What sort of...
I think it's great. No, but I think it's great that you did. We've already got enough love songs.
Well, I thought I've added quite a few myself.
And very good ones too. But I like it when people step out and do songs about work or houses or whatever.
Indeed, but what was the initial sort of inspiration? Because, of course, as you say yourself, you've been fortunate in not having to have, the commuter run and the sort of the regular hours, haven't you?
Yeah,
so what spiked it?
Well, I mean, as much as I don't do that, I am often stuck in commuter land,
Like today.
Indeed. Oh, God, yeah. Yesterday
Train
on
broke
the train. 6 hours from London to Manchester.
Right.
Anyway.
Chris Grayling will sort it out.
Mustn't grumble. Yeah. Well, I actually wrote most of it at the same time as the last album, Foreverland, but they kind of... I didn't know what to do with this lot. The other ones, sort of the relationship songs, they seemed a bit more, well, that's a Divine Comedy album. I'll stick them all together, do that, and then I'll think about what to do with the other ones afterwards.
Okay.
And gradually it shaped itself into this strange monstrosity.
You say that you're saying you've not had a proper job, so you don't know about this. But everything's like a job, isn't it? I mean, the world of pop music has its job elements.
Yeah, when I got up this morning, I thought, this bloody job.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And also, it occurs to me that Billy Bird, who recurs on this record, who crops up again on this record, that's a great song about a person having to juggle work and family and things.
Yes, the work-life thing.
Work-life balance. That's a great early song about that. Well, I'd say early, mid-period Divine Comedy song about that.
We should hear something, shouldn't we? What are you going to play first?
Well, we're going to play Norman and Norma, which you can tell us exactly about.
I love this. This is a whole life story in about 3 minutes, isn't it?
Yeah, it's my stock in trade. I found in my notebook Norman and Norma, and I had no idea why or where it came from. Somebody might be able to tell me out there. And I wrote the first couple of lines. Norman and Norma got married in Cromer, April 1983, and I thought, rats, I'm going to have to do the rest now. So second verse, kids, third verse, retirement, I guess, and but I don't want them to be bored. So I gave them a good thing to do.
It's a good ending there, because when I listened to it the first time, I'm thinking this is going to end with a tragedy, but thankfully it doesn't. Let's hear it.
This is Norman and Norma. Emma did a 100-kilometre charity walk last week, and when I was finding it tough, my husband sang Norman and Norma to me, and it really helped.
Why would that help?
I don't know. I very much enjoyed that, but I wouldn't have thought it's the right kind of Eye of the Tiger style pumping.
It just reminds you how long life is and how it goes on and on.
Although it's a story, if it's in between partners, it's a story of devotion, isn't it?
I guess it is.
And then what I loved about that, because I was listening to it, I think, this is going to be heartbreaking because Norma is presumably going to be left on her own. But little did I think they were going to be reenacting the Battle of Hastings at the end of it. Was this a gag on Norman?
Pretty much. I thought, what'll they do? And Norman. Oh, yes. But I like the idea that maybe the love life ain't so great anymore, but at least they can go out and pretend to kill people. You know,
I love that concept, yeah.
That is a new single by the Divine Comedy. It comes from the new album Office Politics, a double album which came out yesterday. One of the 16 count 'em tracks on this tour de force of an album.
it's just too many.
Too many, says Neil Hannon, creator of the album.
We'll play it for Lorna in the Highlands, who said, Neil made me cry at Cropperty Festival a couple of years ago.
sorry.
As bad as that it was. He says, our mutual friend, amazing portrayal of hope and rejection. It's not easy putting your mascara back on in a festival toilet, but I forgive him. And Hamish says, nearly one of my favourite ever gigs, a double-header with Ben Folds. It was the last night of their tour at the Shepherd's Bush Empire, and for an encore, they duetted on...
Careless Whisper, if I remember right. Yes. It wasn't pristine, but it had energy. Yeah, it's really heartrending.
You were saying about, Neil, about this album, that it has kind of interludes and little digressions, like one into the imagined sitcom plot of Philip Glass and Steve Reich's furniture removal company.
That's right. I like to set myself little challenges.
And another, we're going to play a little bit of a piece called The Synthesizer Service Centre Super Summer Sale.
Oh, nice. You see, you're a radio host, so you know you can say that.
Okay. You just had those two phrases, did you, in your head, apparently?
Well, I actually, Alistair, who brought me here, he had said to me, the Synthesizer Service Centre is, and I kind of forgotten that it was a real place, apparently, at one time. I don't know if it still exists.
I don't know.
And then I saw Super Summer Sale somewhere else, and I put them together, and I thought, I sense a Gilbert and Sullivan-esque patter song here, just with all of the synthesizers you can possibly imagine. Yeah. And then, obviously, what sort of musical background are you going to give that? Stockhausen, or something such.
With Akai and Alessis, Arturia and Arp, with Emulator, Oberheim and Aries. With Mini Moog and Poly Moog and Moog Modular, and our Mooga Fuga envelopes are scary. With every Korg you'll ever need, M1 to MS-20, with Volca, Delta, Trinity and Triton. There's Prophecy and Odyssey and Microcourse aplenty. There's black and brown and grey and red and white ones. You won't believe the prices, you'll be glad that you availed of the Synthesizer Service Centre Super Summer Sale.
Can you do that one live? It's an amazing list song, that, isn't it?
Oh,
Could you remember it?
Which one?
That one? Yeah.
No. In fact, I tried the other day, and it's all gone. It was, we were quite worse for wear.
Really?
That night,
right.
yeah.
I hadn't thought until you said that it is a Gilbert and Sullivan patter song, isn't it? I hadn't really thought about that.
Did you write that in the Alps?
Yeah, we had a day off on tour, and we were in this nice hotel for once, up in like the Italian Alps, and we were having beers on the kind of balcony overlooking amazing village, and just trying to think of synthesizers, and everybody chipped in. And I kind of beat them into some kind of rhyme.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I've got to say this. Other people will have been shouting this at the radio when you were complaining. Not complaining, but when you were talking about your travails with the train yesterday. Of course, Keegan is one of many people to say you should have taken the National Express.
It's a playful album. We talked about some of the playful moments.
Well,
and everything.
Said, can I just stop you 1 second? Because it's playful. Because someone's just said, Mr. Gibbs says, Norman and Norma made me laugh out loud. So do you think that's an accurate, perfectly acceptable response?
Any response is merited, really.
I like the jokes, because, jokes and, in music, but not jokey music sort of thing, and I like that. But I mean, there is poignant and serious stuff on here. We're going to play a song which I absolutely love, which is You'll Never Work in This Town Again. And I was thinking of this particularly this week because the news of the Ford plant in Bridgend came through, and we don't know where we are with British Steel. Although the inspiration for this, which seems to chime with that, is slightly different, isn't it?
I suppose I was thinking more of the sort of automation of people's jobs being sort of automized out of it. And I thought of the sort of legend of Ned Ludd and the sort of Luddites back in the 19th century and machine breaking and whether it's time to start, trashing robots,
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, there are all kinds of, and now all kinds of jobs. I was just saying earlier, it's not just repetitive manual tasks that might have to go. There might not be much need for accountants in another 20 years.
No, indeed, and even in the music industry. I made half of this record at home because we've got Pro Tools at home, so it's industry standard, and suddenly you're an engineer as well. And what happens to the engineers?
What happens to the engineers? Exactly. Universal basic income.
Absolutely.
It's the way forward.
I'd like that.
I'd like it too.
I wouldn't bother making it.
I'd like it too. Let's hear the track that Mark's talking about then. This is again one of the 16 tracks on this tour de force by the Divine Comedy. This is You'll Never Work in This Town Again. Jules says, could someone put Neil in charge of everything, please? The Poet Laureate of Pop?
I'd like to be in charge of everything.
That'd be good, wouldn't it? That would be good. The Much Love coming in, as we'd expect, by Mark David and Darren in Rochester. Amazing choice, Neil Hannon. World of Water by New Music. I'm 14 again. I've not heard this for 35 years. Excellent.
We'll also play that for Jez and Joe in Croatia. Neil is here. The album's out. You can see Neil doing an in-store at Manchester HMV this afternoon from
2 p.m.
Perth, are you doing something at the Inkira Arts Club?
I can't say it either.
No, 10th. Yeah. And Dublin Tower Records on next Wednesday.
Norman and Norma's been a big hit with my 4-month-old baby Barney's playmat, and my first post-baby gig was Neil and Co. in Kingston on Wednesday. Double thanks to the Divine Comedy this week, says Joe in Kingston.
I'm many people's post-baby gig.
Are you?
Yeah, I think it's more a demographic thing than anything else. Yeah.
Where are you up to with the Father Ted musical? Pope Ted, isn't it?
It's like, you keep walking towards a mountain and it keeps receding into the distance. But we're in workshopy mode, actors, singing, dancing. It's all frightfully entertaining. You'll like it, honest. Just don't ask me when it's going to come out.
Right. Maybe next year. That might be over-optimistic, but maybe next year.
Yeah. If it were up to Graham, it would be out next week.
This is Graham Linehan.
Yeah. When you say, but all the songs written on...
Between Paul Woodfull and myself, we've got all but maybe one or two. Yeah, and there's those problem scenes where nobody can really get to grips with it.
Neil, thank you so much for dropping by at this unearthly hour. If people of Manchester, go along at 2 p.m. this afternoon to HMV, where Neil will be playing and signing and singing, apparently. And that's about it for us for today. Huey's next. He's in the next room.
Yes, just been waving through the blinds there.
Do we need to remind people about the chain? I've completely forgotten what it was. Have you remembered, Mark?
It was Tutti Frutti by New Order.
Oh, well remembered. Tutti Frutti by New Order was last on the chain, so something that links into that, please. And we're going to leave you with the excellent new track from Black Midi, Talking Heads. Goodbye, everyone.